Hello, everyone.
Greetings, fellow mortals.
Goody. We can imagine what this is going to be like, eh? Oh, goody. What are we doing tonight?
Well, tonight's going to be more of like a chemistry experiment.
Oh, that sounds great. I have my wine.
Yeah, so it's partly out of my own curiosity. So now, you've all seen, if anyone has followed a recipe ever to make a cocktail, you've seen it mention bitters. Also, if you've been into Cascadia is a good one, that vintage spirits downtown. You'll also notice that there are tons of bitters to choose from, probably dozens more coming on the market every day.
So we're going to do fun with bitters?
There's 3 that you ought to have.
Okay.
Depending on who you listen to, 3 or 4. Probably the most common one, so common that they sell them in grocery stores, Angostura bitters.
We put this one in a few times. I can actually watch the camera this time because I'm not wearing a very silly costume. There we go. Yeah.
Angostura was the name of the
Rosemary.
town that it originated in Venezuela. It is not called that anymore. It's now like Ciudad de Bolivar or something.
Sure.
Anyway, they're gone out of there anyway. They're now in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh.
Second one is Peychaud's. Peychaud's was he's either a pharmacist or a doctor, maybe both, in New Orleans. And a lot of these things originated as sort of a tonic or an elixir, you know. You're going to see that a lot in New Orleans style drinks.
Cool. So it's 1869.
Yeah, these things go way, way back.
That's crazy.
The third one that you ought to have is orange bitters.
Oh, okay.
That comes from oranges. I guess. I don't know.
That's great. I want to go and research on that, baby.
Shut up.
Okay. This comes from oranges, and it's called orange bitters.
The fourth one.
Oh, it's called Scrappy's bitters.
Moving right along. The fourth one, according to some places, believe it or not, is chocolate bitters.
Oh, that would be good. What, is it bitter?
Probably.
Oh, okay.
So what I want to do, there are some drinks that these are the main ingredient. So what I want to see is to what extent is eliminating bitters from a recipe impacting the recipe. Now, those drinks where, there's one that calls for, if you can believe it, 1.5 ounces
oh my God.
of this.
That's craziness.
So, the taste of these they're very herbal. This is made from gentian and herbs and other herbs and spices.
What's gentian?
It's a plant.
Oh.
It's a herbal.
Like an orange.
An aromatic. Yeah,
Sure.
kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
So we're not going to try them in that because obviously eliminating bitters from a drink based on bitters is not going to work out so well. So I thought, what drinks could we play with that are sort of somewhere in the middle? The old-fashioned came to mind. Now, an old-fashioned...
no alcohol? Oh, there'll be alcohol, don't you worry.
Oh, yeah.
These all have booze.
Yeah, Sue's standing in front of it. That's why you can't see it.
Yeah.
So the old-fashioned is probably the first drink to be called a cocktail.
Because it's old-fashioned.
It was old-fashioned in the early 1800s.
Oh, that's crazy.
So,
crazy.
This dates way back. Back then, it was kind of just a way to get the alcohol into you, it seems to me. Old-fashioned came from rye, sugar, and bitters. That was an old fashioned.
Okay.
And I'm also leaving out the garnishes on these, by the way, because we don't do it
Okay.
for for our purposes.
So we're doing the old fashioned first?
Yep, but we're going to take a little side trip. In doing this, so you look up. Well, actually, we're not even going to do an old fashioned because I figured that was relying too much on the bitters.
Okay.
So we're gonna bump it up a little bit, and we're gonna do a Manhattan.
Variations on a Manhattan, I bet.
No, we're gonna do pretty much the authentic, basic baseline Manhattan.
Okay.
We're gonna mix up one, and then half of it we're gonna put the bitters, and the other half we're gonna leave it out.
So like a variation.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. In that sense, I guess. Yeah. Okay, fine. Get me on a technicality.
Oh well, it was the name of the drink that you gave me, so it's in the comments.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There are lots of variations on these, and part of that is because both the Manhattan and the Old Fashioned, and the one I'm going to do after this, which is called a Vieux Carré, they all require an American whiskey. Now, the quintessential American whiskey has changed over the years. It used to be rye, and that's because rye is a northern crop.
Okay.
At the time, like, believe it or not, this is a cool fact that I found out today. After he was president, George Washington, what?
I'm just making sure you think. Just ignore me.
I get in trouble when I do that. After George Washington was president, he retired to his estate at Mount Vernon.
Oh.
He opened a distillery. The distillery grew until 1799, the year he died, actually. It produced 11,000 gallons of rye.
Way to go, George.
And then in the Northeast, after that, like between the years of 1810 and 1840, there was between 14 and 20,000 distilleries around. And a lot of it was a way to process excess grain, because they'd harvest grain for like food crops and for feeding the livestock and stuff. The grain is going to want to ferment, so they'd ferment it. They'd take the alcohol off, and then what was left would still be a viable food crop. Bonus, they get booze out of it.
There you
right?
go. It's a win-win situation, people.
So, and back in those days, most of the U.S. population was north of the Mason-Dixon line, so the most prevalent grain was rye. As more southern distilleries started coming into it, they would use corn because that grew best in hot climates in the south. And as you know, when you ferment corn, you end up with bourbon.
Not everybody knows that, but now we do.
Yeah, sour mash. And then, so I went shopping for rye. I'll get to this quickly, I promise. So I went shopping for rye. You go into a liquor store, what you find is Canadian rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Now, in the States, you have to use 51%, just over half of the grains that you're fermenting. Just over half has to be rye for you to call it rye.
I remember that.
Call it Canadian whiskey, guess how much has to be rye?
51%?
0.
What?
There is no requirement.
Oh,
You can
okay.
use whatever you want.
Perfect.
Now, they typically do use some rye, but they also use corn and barley, and they blend it.
Right.
So I would like, just for my own edification here, there's a little side quest.
He just wants 2 shots of rye and whiskey, that's all.
So
Yep.
the more orangey one is, so this is a local product. This is Stillhead Distillery.
Okay.
100% BC grown rye. One on the other side is what I would normally use, which is a blended whiskey. That one's Canadian Club. Everybody knows that one. So we're just going to take a little taste comparison now.
So there you go. So that's a stillhead. The one on my
Yep,
left?
yep.
Yeah, because the one on my left.
So this is pure rye. Someone, one of the guys that I was reading describes pure rye as being more angular.
Sure.
If you can get your head around that.
No.
I can't.
I love the way people use the language, hey? Angular, when it comes to booze. You think okay.
No, I don't really expect it to.
Whatever, I'll give it a whirl, but I'm just how I'm going to feel about this.
You're going to spit it out.
Yeah, it just takes me back.
Okay, so compare that to that.
Excuse me. Okay. Oh, good Lord. That just shot me back to my teens. Sorry. Yeah. It's just not a good thing.
So how would you describe the difference between them?
That one was more smoother, I think.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
They typically use, if you use corn, as a matter of fact, I mentioned George Washington. He would do, I think they called it Maine rye. I think that's what they called it, where they added a little bit of corn in, and the corn tends to mellow it, to sweeten it a little bit. Oh. Bourbon is generally considered a sweeter whiskey. Rye is a spicy, more angular, whatever the hell that means.
I can see that. Spicier, a little bit more deep.
Yeah. Rye is coming back in fashion, like lots of things do. So much so that Canadian Club now produces a rye. Crown Royal, another popular Canadian whiskey, has Northern Harvest, I think it's called, which is a rye. Anyway, so that's...
Where's the fun with bitters?
Okay, we're getting to it.
We're having fun with rye, but we haven't had any fun.
So the Manhattan came from the Manhattan Club in the mid-1970s, and it was made by Ian Marshall for a banquet hosted by Jenny Jerome.
Who's Jenny?
Jenny Jerome wasn't that famous, but her son was.
Oh, who?
Winston Churchill.
Oh, Jenny's got some famous people.
Right around the time that Winston was born, she hosted a banquet, and this guy made up a cocktail called the Manhattan. It is quite simply, we're going to go 2 ounces of bourbon. We're just going to do it in a mixing glass here, I think.
Going to give you a little view.
Or not bourbon. We're going to use rye, aren't we? Because it's more authentic.
Right. Okay. So we're going to use the rye. All right.
Let's measure it properly here.
Oh, making good use of your still head. There you go. So this is Winston Churchill now?
I hope not. I think she may have been carrying him when this was...
That's probably not a good thing.
When this was, brought about. 1 ounce of Italian vermouth, red vermouth, or sweet vermouth.
Mm-hmm.
This
is our pals. Oh, I should show them the still head bottle too, just in case you haven't seen this.
This is from a Squimalt.
Our pals. Double oak rye. Look at this. There you go. That's what we're using. Okay. See how long this bottle lasts. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our whiskey tends to last a while.
I can't imagine.
Luckily, it does last. That's the nice thing about it.
That's true. So you're just going to stir this so that you don't get ice chips in it, and that's why you're not shaking it, because it's all booze? I'm learning.
Yeah, more or less. Also, I don't want to... We've got 4 to get through here, so I don't want to...
You got 4?
Entirely. Yeah, they're all about this basic, though, so
okay.
it's not going to take long. So we're going to eyeball...
Mm-hmm.
About half and half.
So this is just bourbon, or sorry, whatever the heck you told me.
This is a Manhattan. Almost. For it to actually be a Manhattan, we need to add 1 dash of Angostura bitters. And technically add a maraschino cherry to it. I'm not going to do that part because it doesn't really add or subtract to the drink. Mm-hmm. How much is a dash? I mean, what if you wanted to actually quantify it? Turns out a dash is, well, it's kind of a inaccurate measure. It depends how you shake it, right? So A dash is between an eighth and a quarter.
So 3/4 of a quarter?
Yeah. Right.
I threw him off in the mouth. I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
So just for consistency, we're going to pretend we're a heavy shake, and we're going to make a dash a quarter of a teaspoon.
Okay.
So this one is, so first of all, you can see what it does to the color. You want to?
Sure. All right. That's without, and this is with. So it's a little bit darker with the bitters.
So I did one thing and said the other. I didn't put a full dash in there.
Okay.
Because it's only half a drink. So I put half a dash. If we had the full drink, it would be 1 dash of Angostura bitters.
Looks like you put a full dash.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to try it with the dash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure. Okay. I guess it's good. He's going to be better to do this. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference. I would drink that one over this one for sure. Going with the bitters.
I really like Manhattans.
Yeah, if you do, I mean that's yeah. Can you tell the difference?
So what would you say it does? Like how would you quantify that?
I feel like I'm at work. Okay, hang on. Let me try this again. How would you
describe
that, Sue?
I think the way that they put it on, or the way they would describe it on a website, is it adds complexity to it. Bitters generally has, or Angostura bitters generally has, like baking spices. So think allspice, nutmeg.
I say it takes the edge off it. Because I mean, especially if you don't like.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. So that's a good thing.
John just wants all these drinks because, well, he's going to drink them after.
A slightly sweeter version of that, but bumping up the ingredient list somewhat, is something called the Vieux Carré.
Okay.
Vieux Carré was invented in New Orleans by a guy named Walter Bergeron, who was the head bartender for the Hotel Monteleone. Vieux Carré is French for old square. An old square. Old square is what the French Quarter used to be called.
Oh, there we go.
In New Orleans. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
The Vieux Carré is a nod to all the ethnic groups.
Nice.
That at that time were populating. Sorry, here I am populating the French Quarter.
Okay.
So we've got whiskey. We're going to stick with our rye, I think.
All right.
We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of whiskey. This represents the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It is, after all, their city.
Perfect.
We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of cognac for the French contingent.
Oh, yeah, it is multicultural. I wonder what's next.
This apparently was on purpose to make it multicultural. 3/4 of an ounce. Remember this stuff? Benedictine liqueur.
And where's that from?
I can't remember now. Oh, it's French. Yes, that's the other French. God, you're throwing these tough questions at me here.
Well, I mean, we don't talk about any of this before the show.
This is aromatic in itself, right? So this is going to be an interesting drink. And could you do me a favor?
No, but yes. What would you like?
Oh no, I got it. I was going to say, you got nails. Could you open this?
Oh yeah.
I've
got to use.
I finished off the last of the sweet vermouth. They changed the bottle, but this is the same stuff. The Squy malts, sweet vermouth.
So this is very kind of similar, but it's got.
So the last 2 ingredients for French. This represents the Italian contingent. You recall red vermouth or sweet vermouth is an Italian thing, also present present in the French Quarter at that point. So we've got whiskey, cognac, sweet vermouth, and Benedictine, and we're going to stir that up.
And no bitters yet.
No bitters yet because we're going to split it.
We're doing an A/B test. Split test, people. Yeah, this is what we got going on. What do you need?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
What did I do with my spoon? Oh, there it is. There it bloody is.
Guess I should be helping, eh?
Oh, you're always helping. Yeah.
Well, you just got to give me a job so I can use the spoon and put it somewhere useful. Come on, I just laid it right out for you. Accidentally, but really.
Set ends
You're going to let that go?
Yeah, I mean, I need a certain amount of challenge, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at this. Why? It looks the same color as the other two.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Now, you got lots to go through this evening.
Well, this is only one drink, right?
Oh, that's true.
This is not necessarily the right glassware that I'm using for any of this. Also, I used the glasses that we had pairs of.
And that's very limited right now, to be honest. Yeah.
The bitters in this are, we're using both the Peychauds and the Angostura. There are, every recipe you have has their own like favorite. There's a bunch of New Orleans style bitters out there. This is the original one, and it's the only one I have. So we're gonna do. This calls for two dashes of Peychaud. So we're gonna put a full one in there.
So this is a small drink. So so you're putting them all in one drink?
And no, I just put half of the bitter, and then an eighth of a teaspoon.
Mm-hmm. So all the two bitters go into the one drink.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look at the difference in color. This is going to be fun.
So whenever you add the Peychauds, it reds it up, right?
Pretty.
It's a very red thing.
So bitters, fun with bitters versus no bitters. Okay. Sounds like bitters. Okay. So I don't even, well, I'll do this. Let's just get this.
The bottles are the same.
Mm-hmm. That one's not bad. With the bitters, it's really good. And you know me, I don't really like this kind of stuff. I would drink that.
This is a sweeter, generally speaking, than the Angostura. I'm going to need those. What am I doing?
I mean, it definitely adds something. But I would drink either one of them, to be honest. And the one without the bitters is sweeter. Huh. Guess that makes sense, doesn't it? Right? Bitter, sweet. I made a joke. Bittersweet.
You're very smart.
Thank you. What do you think?
The difference there's more of a difference between these two than there was between the two Manhattan things. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But I see what you mean.
Yeah, they're both good.
Yeah, they're both good. They're different. It's noticeable. This is probably a prettier drink.
And it's not as sweet, so it means you could probably drink that one. I could sip this one over like an hour or so, whereas this one I'd be like, yeah.
So here's what I noticed with this one.
Yeah.
Especially with this glass, you get your nose up there is very aromatic. Yeah. And that is part of the drink, right? Is the aromatic. This one, not so much. I think I prefer the one with the bitters.
Oh, totally.
Sue prefers it without. So we got.
No, I prefer it with the bitters.
So do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you liked it. Oh, okay.
No, the one without.
2 thumbs up for the original recipe.
Yeah. No, with the bitters.
Yeah.
That is the original.
That is the original recipe.
This is how we talk at home. So you're clear. We have no idea.
Now, usually there's a whole lot of what?
What? The winners? you talking about? Anyways.
So going from giving you history and stuff of things, I'm going to go to the other extreme here. This next drink I'm going to make is called a 67. Not to be confused with a number 67.
I didn't get that one to put it in the comments. Okay, wow.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I picked this one because it features orange bitters and a lot of it.
Okay.
I can't find anything anywhere online about this drink. Yeah, I found it on one site. It's from the Absolute, as in these guys, the Swedish distillery guys. You know, the vodka. Nowhere else.
You could just make it up.
Well, yeah, okay. It was made up by Jean Lafitte, the famous pirate. Yarr.
All right, we'll just make it then.
Which would work because it has rum. It's very simple.
All right, so it's made up by John the Pirate. Okay. Bamboo.
Black Jack Shellac.
Yes. Oh, good lord.
Bamboo, a Panamanian rum, very smooth. They call for Cuban rum. Panama's close to Cuba, right? 1.5 ounces Cuban rum.
I'm going to show you this bottle. It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
That's a rum. My neighbor Darren introduced me to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can drink this straight and not wince.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, it's don't worry about it.
In other words, stay away from my booze. Okay.
And 1/3 ounce of maraschino.
Okay, which is a Luxardo thing? Yeah?
Which, sorry?
This is Luxardo on the front of it. Isn't it?
0?
This one, Luxardo.
Oh, Luxardo, yeah. What?
You can borrow my hearing aids. We're deaf as all. I am, for sure. No question, but you're still pretending you're not. World. What can we say?
You know, I went for a hearing test, and they said, nah, you don't have bad enough hearing loss. I said, what?
Yeah. Let you borrow mine. Give it a whirl. Okay, so do the stirring again.
2 ingredients plus bitters, so pretty straightforward. It does show this being in a cocktail glass. We're going to put it in a coupe glass.
All right. And you're leaking.
Screw off. Yeah, I know I'm leaking.
Okay. So no bitters, and then you're going to put in bitters.
Yeah, so this one is orange bitters.
I bet you there's, yeah. Sorry, you just said orange, didn't you? Okay. I was guessing you were going to put in orange bitters.
Oh.
Because it was orange.
Very astute.
Thank you.
That's a half. We don't want that. So this calls for 3 dashes. So we're going to do 1.5 here.
All right.
A little more. There we go.
You just stir away. See, he's taking away all the little fancy tools and just uses the measuring. Let's give this a whirl. Okay, let's see if there's any difference in color. I don't know if there really is. Can you really tell if my hands are in the way? But I guess it's a little darker with the bitters here, right? All right. So, again. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's a good drink. You should try that. My gosh, that's actually really tasty. No, definitely with the bitters. Definitely. It's kind of got that sharp rum edge to it until you have the bitters in there. It just smooths it right out.
Huge difference on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Definitely go with the bitters in that. So
super good.
Yeah, a bit of a sleeper drink there. Like I said, never heard of it before. Couldn't find any mention of it. I couldn't even find a copy of the recipe to compare it with. The one I did find was a number 67, but it's nothing like it. That had Fernet Branca and Mezcal and ginger beer. So, yeah, nowhere even close to the same drink.
All right, you're on number 4 now.
The last one we're going to do is going to kind of feel like cheating. It's a pink G&T.
Oh, finally, something that I might actually drink. Yay! See, we got a little hard on that one. This should be good.
Why am I doing this?
I don't know why you're doing that. Nobody knows. What are you doing?
Well, actually, yeah, I can do it in that, I guess. It's simply a gin and tonic with bitters. It is the Angostura bitters that makes it.
That's this one. Okay. Gin and tonic with bitters. That's an interesting combination, hey?
For God's sake.
What'd you do? Did you run out of gin?
I ran out of this gin.
Shocking. All right.
Oh, but
you got a baby bottle.
But it won't matter for comparison because it's going to be the same base.
Where'd you get the little baby bottle of gin?
I bought a 3-pack from Arbutus, and it was Forest Dweller, Coniferous gin in this case. We got a blue gin, which is kind of like the Empress 1908. We got a citrus gin.
So now we're doing this one. Okay. Throw that in there.
2 ounces of that. We're going to put the tonic in with it because I'm not going to shake it. Shaking it would be a bad idea.
I was going to open that for him. You know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And somebody said a little clap. Look at that. Oh, isn't that cute?
Oh, cool.
That's adorable. You wouldn't believe how it shows up on our screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Who's doing that?
It's probably Michelle.
Well done.
Oh, that's adorable. Create your own avatar. Who did that? Oh my, it was Rosemary. You must have learned from Brian how to do that. That's the best. I love that. Oh my God, I've never laughed so hard.
Oh, I know.
Seeing that. I
mean, yeah,
oh my gosh.
Sue showed it to me. That was classic.
Way to go.
Good job, Rosemary.
That was amazing. Okay. Teach me how to do that. That was adorable.
So this one might actually be one that is worth drinking.
Oh, yeah. Especially for moi. Okay.
So tonic already in.
Why is it called pink?
Well, you'll see.
Oh, because it actually calls for butter?
Yeah, so what it was is the Royal Navy, back in the old days, in the 1830s, the Royal Navy boys used to drink gin to counteract seasickness. Mm-hmm. And they'd drink tonic to counteract scurvy.
Right, I remember this.
And then they'd start doing importing spices, and as they did that, they got hold of some bitters because this is, after all,
it wasn't Rosemary doing that; it was Michelle.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, Rosemary. So Michelle, yeah, you got to show us how to do that.
So what makes it pink supposedly is 2 dashes of bitters. We're going to use 1.5 of that.
And this is of the Angostura, not the pink one?
Yeah,
that's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I don't know how pink it's going to be.
Okay, well, technically, we shall see. Kind of looks...
kind of a more brownish than pink.
It's like a burnt orange. So...
kind of an umber. Now, this is not to be... there is a pink gin that you can get. Different deal.
This isn't pink. This is kind of a...
Well, it's pink-ish.
If you use the other bitters, it would be pink. I have a feeling I'm going to see a lot of these freaking avatar things in my feed tonight. Oh, that's... there you go. So, yeah, so that's kind of a burnt orange. But, yeah.
I think pink probably has a...
offline we shall try the pink one. But, okay. Okay. Oh, it's so good. But I like G&T, so that's really good. Try this one. They're both good. Can't really tell the difference, to be perfectly honest.
Again, yeah. So, I mean, I don't have a great palate
Really?
for different tastes and stuff. This one, again, when you bring it up to your nose, you can definitely smell it,
Let me try that.
which is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at least with that tonic and with that gin, it doesn't seem to make a difference.
Not really. So it's probably not worth the...
Yeah. So what do we conclude from this? So most of the time, you want to add bitters where it says to add bitters.
You betcha. Yeah.
And
if something tastes crappy, add bitters.
yeah. Well, I mean, like it, you know, the sites that know what they're talking about, it says, you know, it adds a level of complexity. Sue's take on it is probably just as valid. It takes the edge off certain things.
There we go.
And but start with a couple or three, because there's like I've got a few, but nothing compared to what's available. I've got rhubarb cardamom bitters, black walnut celery bitters. I can't remember. I had the black walnut bitters. I was making one cocktail and it was awesome, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know, but I would have a feeling in a coffee drink, that would be amazing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I have smoke bitters.
Oh, which would be good in like tequila or mezcal.
You'd think. I tried it. I wasn't a fan, but I'll have to keep working on it. Anyway,
yeah,
that's that for this evening. Thanks for joining us for our chemistry experiment here.
Yeah, you learned a little bit about rye and bourbon, and
well, I learned a lot.
You did.
Yeah.
So did I. And we learned how to make these little. We're gonna learn how.
We're
gonna
learn how to do the little.
Teach us in the comments.
Yeah.
On how to do that.
Yep.
And so, what are we doing next week?
Next week is Armistice Day, or Remembrance Day.
Oh yeah.
As it's commonly known here. So I thought we could do something featuring drinks from the First World War era. Okay. Now we've done one. The obvious one is the French 75.
Yeah.
French 75 was named after the 75 millimeter cannon that the French had developed for the First World War.
Perfect. So we'll talk more about that next week. But right now we're already at 40 minutes, so we should probably wrap this baby up.
Holy crap! Yeah. Sorry, people. I stopped doing this now.
Okay. Anyways, we'll have yourselves a great weekend, and Michelle and Rosemary, I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.